Hi, my name is Bill Wilson, but not really. What I wanted to do was to put together a little bit of something having to do with Alcoholics Anonymous and whether it's appropriate. In 2016, whether it can be effective in treating alcoholism, because I've had experiences with that. And that's to say that, alcoholism is something, it can't be treated with a pill. I mean, you call it a disease, but it's something more like a voluntary disease, you know what I mean? And for all the haters out there on the internet that are always speaking out against Alcoholics Anonymous, listen, people, it's totally voluntary, all right? It's not like you're being forced to go to a meeting, and there's also, I think, a lot of confusion out there about what the real alcoholic is, versus the person who's just a hard drinker, the so-called wannabe alcoholics. But this is about, I'm doing step 2. I wanted to look at a few things here and post this up because this is about having some kind of a spiritual experience. They say in AA that, the disease is kind of two-sided. You have the physical side, and then you have kind of the emotional, spiritual side. So this step 2 came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. The 2 points on that is that this could part is saying that could, not will, is not a guarantee. It's just an expression of potentiality. Hey, it's possible that God can restore us to sanity. And the second part but in that came to believe that a power could restore us to sanity, not respectability, not prosperity, not fame, could not restore us to fortune, but to sanity. Put a value, make these the values in your life if you're coming back from recovery. For example, sanity. Let that be enough. I'm sane, I'm balanced. Emotionally I'm balanced. And just refrain. Just be silent. Work really hard to just be silent and let all that noise and all those emotions that are cascading through you, anger and all this, just let it go. And I know you're going to be wanting to say, what happens when I let that go? Because I'm going to be full of emptiness, and I'm going to be full of void. And we're afraid of that nothingness. Because all I've ever known all my life, drinking and not drinking, is anger, jealousy, other kind of base, petty emotions. Let me get back into this step 2 a little bit here. So I'm talking about what I call the couldness of God restoring us just to sanity, not prosperity, not restore us to a place where we can have, everything that we want, but to sanity. So here in the 12 and 12, it goes into different cases of recovering alcoholics. For example, here it says, look at the case of the belligerent one. Is that you? Are you belligerent? Are you warlike? Are you resistant to taking suggestions? Are you resistant? And is your mind closed to change, or even the possibility that you can change your personality? Because you've been all mad and belligerent all your life. Here it says, page 25, the alcoholic is in a state of mind which can be described only as savage. His whole philosophy of life is threatened. If you're at war with the world, you're not going to get well. You know, you're not taking your medicine. You're not getting well. If nothing else, that's a clear sign, an indication to you that you're not on the right path. Because you're belligerent, angry, you're not comfortable. You're not in a state of peace. You're always in a state of war, and this is why we continually fail over and over again. Let me look through here. I'm not a big advocate of Alcoholics Anonymous. I just wanted to have some kind of a discussion onto the efficacy of Alcoholics Anonymous, because I kind of think that, hey, this was formulated in the 1930s, okay? The zeitgeist from the 1930s is a heck of a lot different than what it is in 2016. Back in this time, you had the rise of psychoanalysis, the behavioral psychologist, group therapy, and all these things were new back then. Not to mention, people's minds were completely different than what they are now. You didn't have all of the distractions and the varying opinions. Things that are going on now is not like what was going on then. So, thing is, this is about step 2, having a spiritual experience and wanting to get some sanity in your life. What does sanity look like? If that's not what you're after as a recovering alcoholic, is recovering from coming back from alcoholism, whether you've been at it for 2 years, 20 years, 30 years, 10 years, maybe you got nothing left. Maybe you can't drive. Maybe you have a criminal record. Maybe you're alone. Maybe you've been drinking your whole life and you're old and you've got one foot in the grave now. But I'm just looking for, I guess, some remarks on sanity. Is that valuable? Because you talk about step 2, that's the word that jumps out to me right now when I read it, is sanity. Forget about the higher power or the lower power. Just recognizing, that me and my ego is not the beginning and the end of the universe is enough for me to admit that there's powers and entities outside of myself. Just keep it very simple. So I'm going to try to be putting things out there and seeing how this channel does. So I welcome your input. Thanks again.